Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is not a review of The Mummy from 2017, but it is a video about why I couldn't finish it. I always make this distinction because I'm still holding a grudge against Comic Book Girl 19 for reviewing, what was it, King Arthur or something like that? It's King Arthur, right? That Guy Ritchie King Arthur. And she got sick off of pot brownies and then she threw up in the... I'm still angry about it. I mentioned this in probably 20 videos already. So anyway, I did not finish this movie. So this is not a review. What this is a video. Okay, so I don't do the bit where I talk about my day. I just got 2 wrong orders in a row at Whataburger. Okay, so yeah, moving on. So anyway, I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan. Not really. I'm a huge fan of Ethan Hunt. I love that character. Ethan Hunt is my Captain America. But obviously, I've seen all of the Mission Impossible movies. Geez, some of them literally dozens of times. So I was like, I felt like watching one, but I was like, obviously they're still making the next one. So I was like, all right, I'll check out this stupid ass Mummy movie. I heard it was pretty bad. Here's the deal. Half of my favorite movies are movies that everyone hates. So having a movie that I've never heard anyone say anything good about, I was like, this might be my new favorite movie. Oh shit, this was terrible. Oh my god. Now obviously, I can only give my judgment of the first 15 minutes, but that shit was freaking excruciating. 100% I would have walked out of the theater if I would have seen this movie. So here's the huge problem. Tom has been producing his own work I think he's produced almost everything he's done for the last 5 years or so. But pretty much he's increased it as he's gotten older. For people who don't know, you just kind of watch movies, that's fine. A producer is the money person. They're the person who, before a studio says, yes, we're going to put this in theaters, yes, we're going to put this on streaming. A producer is the one who says, here's $5,000 for the rights to whatever. And then here's $10,000 to have someone write a treatment. And then we're going to go to some, they're the money people. But then at the end, if it does good, they really get to cash in because, they had a stake in this from the beginning. You also get creative control of a type. You're not like a director. You're not making all the shot decisions, but you can fire the director and you interview people to be the director. So what we've gotten as Tom Cruise has produced more, and I mean really produce. There's all kinds of different producer credits. I mean, like, it was his baby from the beginning. He got the idea. No, as far as I can tell, he was a hired hand for this. He's obviously, they got to give him good deals and give him this cut of the pie. But the main thing I was thinking was, how embarrassed I was for him. He's 55. Now, of course, he probably made $20 million off of this. But Tom Cruise is like a real movie guy. He doesn't have TV credits. He has I looked it up. He directed one episode of some random syndicated show in the 90s. But he's never been like a TV actor. His whole thing was movies. He moved out to New York. Yeah, I looked this up. He tried to get into movies. It didn't work. He moved out to Hollywood. He was very successful very quickly. So you get the idea that a Tom Cruise movie it's a big deal. It's not just any other movie, It's not just, we're just going to plug in whoever. This is Tom Cruise. It's the last real movie star we're ever going to have. And he's playing, I don't know, I kept thinking, I know I only watched for 15 minutes, but it was a long 15 minutes. I was like, this is the type of role that Ryan Reynolds turns down. Imagine how bad of a role it has to be for Ryan Reynolds to turn something down. And he takes absolute shit. Yeah, he's had some good movies, but he's got a lot of shit. He always plays the same lame-ass character. So this is very, very, extremely, very clearly written for Ryan Reynolds. And then we get Tom Cruise at the age of 55 with his dyed black hair and his eye bags playing what is clearly supposed to be someone in their late 20s or early 30s. He plays a sergeant in charge of a corporal. In real life, this would be a 25-year-old in charge of a 22-year-old. Now, yeah, they traditionally add about 10 years. You know, it's weird. They kind of add 10 years for the lower ranks. Privates and you know, lance corporals are always being played by like 34-year-olds. But then generals are played by like 39-year-olds. It's very rare you get, but you know what I'm saying. So we start off and it's like every trash, lowest common denominator joke from every like D-level Ryan Reynolds piece of shit movie. And you're like, this is Tom Cruise. He's like in his early mid-50s and he's doing this shit. Like, oh, and then we had to suffer through, before we even get to Tom Cruise, we have to suffer through the Dark Universe. They were trying to do this kind of like MCU with like public domain characters like Frankenstein and the Wolfman and shit like that, Dracula. So they were trying to tie it together and it was just ass. And I guess like in the third or fourth movie that was supposed to be, quote, tied together, they brought fat ass Russell Crowe to play Dr. Jekyll in modern time, whatever. So he was supposed to be like their Nick Fury. Anyway, so like I said, you got two actors. You got, what's his name, who voiced Spider-Man in what was it called? It wasn't called Into Darkness. What was that play from like 15 years ago on Broadway? Whatever, Into the Multiverse. The guy who played or did the voice for that, he's like the funny sidekick, and you're like, bruh. Which one of Ronald Reagan's 2 terms was this freaking script written in? It is so old-fashioned. I probably should have said Bill Clinton. It is so old-fashioned. And I don't mean like a couple years past its prime. I mean like this is like a trash buddy script from the 90s with 2 actors who are clearly 20 years too old for their role. And everything is kind of like written backwards from what some jagoff screenwriter thinks is awesome. So like Tom Cruise and that guy, they play really, really, really old soldiers who go around Iraq and they steal stuff right before, you know, jihadists. You know how you're always reading about, oh, this Mesopotamian statue that's been around for 5,000 years. Well, guess which jihadist group just freaking destroyed it for no freaking reason. So they're going around and they're basically stealing the stuff before or while it's getting destroyed, which is actually a pretty slick crime. And a colonel or general or something even says it's like, yeah, this is pretty slick. And then you have this stupid scene where like out of nowhere, like this like very actressy looking actress comes up and slaps Tom Cruise and he makes this doofy face like, what? And she's like, this is for stealing my secret thing when we slept together in Baghdad. Yes, I'm not afraid, even though it was a short. And like these like trash ass jokes. He's like, actually we slept together for a long time. You're like, bruh, this feels like a movie I hallucinated. Tom, you're doing good. Like I think that I'm sure they held out something like, oh, if you sign on this, we're going to start like the next MCU. And then for movies that you're not even in, or for movies you're in like 2 minutes of, you'll get like whatever, 5% of the profit. I'm sure like in Hollywood, lawyer, manager ease, this looked like, oh, it's so, oh, and we got to see this one has the mummy, but it's a girl mummy. That subverted your expectations. And it's what's her name from Kingsman, who I love. I've got a huge crush on her. But like the first start, remember the Mummy from like 1999? It was so much fun. It was fun and it was silly. And this is like way too serious, and they like rush through things. And of course, like they have to show that even though she's a princess, she's like this super badass fighter for like no reason. Like why are you like a super badass ninja? You're a princess. You have guards. What's going on? Yeah, hated it. Bringing that one back from Men on Film from In Living Color. Just to reiterate, this is not a review of the movie. Just the reasons why I quit 15 minutes in. Tom Cruise, way too old. This is some real, like, the style of writing and directing. It's funny. They did like a remake of a 1999 movie but it had like the patterns of that. And then like, oh God, so bad. So freaking bad. Oh my gosh. I mean, this was a stinker to me. Like the first trailer, I'm like, this doesn't match the, I mean, Tom Cruise produces his own stuff. Like, what? What is this? What is this? So now I'm gonna go watch American Made, where he plays a drug dealer pilot. Should I see that? It came out like the same time as that movie American Assassin, which was actually pretty good. American Assassin tripped me out because it had like probably the most brutal fight between a man and a woman I've ever seen in a movie. It was like the lead cool guy and like what looks like is kind of be the love interest, but kind of not really so much, because she just gets freaking schwacked like really quickly. But they get in one of those fights and like he's like shoving her face into like the bathroom wall and like tiles are flying off. You're like, how did you get approval for this movie in 2017? I guess 2017 it like things weren't just like crazy, you know, SJW and politically correct, but you wouldn't see that scene in a movie. Well, nobody saw any movies in theaters this year. Whatever, you know what I meant. But anyway, thanks for watching. Not a recommend. I am interested in hearing from people if it was called like American Made, American something. It was 2017. Tom Cruise was 54, playing probably a guy who was like 27 when all of this stuff went. Just because you still have your hair when you're in late middle age, it doesn't make you look 27. You just look like a 54-year-old who didn't lose his hair. Like, you're in shape, but you're very clearly in your 50s. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.